Hi, Algebra 1. Remember I asked you just try two of these problems. So I'm pretty sure I did this one and I did this one. So let's go through the others. So I know there's a 1 out front. Multiply those together, I get negative 30. In order to get a negative number when multiplying two numbers together, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. So I'm trying to figure out what factors of 30, what two numbers of 30 get multiplied together would also add to be 7. Well, you know that 1 and 30, they couldn't get to 7. And then 2 and 15, they're not going to get to 7 if I add or subtract them from each other. 3 and 10 looks like it really would work. Okay, so I think if I have a positive 10x and a negative 3x, if I add those together, do I get positive 7? And the answer is yes. So I'm going to bring down my ends, and then in the middle of my ends, I'm going to plug in whatever order I want. Just make sure you have the negatives and positives in the right spot. So I'm going to go plus 10x and a minus 3x. Then I'm going to look at my first two terms, and I can take an x out, and that leaves me x plus 10. Remember, the middle sign comes down. I'm going to factor a negative 3 out of both of those, and that's going to give me x plus 10. These are the same. That's what you want. If they're not the same, they don't factor. And then you put this in your other one. For problem number 3, we're going to multiply the very last times the first, and I'm going to get positive 24 because positive 12 times 2, positive 24. Looking at the problem, all signs are all positive, so I think I'm going to have two positive things. So I want to figure out what two numbers multiply together to give me 24 and add to give me 11. So I have 1 and 24. If I add those together, I get 25. I have 2 and 12. If I add those together, I get 14. That's not going to work. I have 3 and 8. I think 3 and 8 might work. Okay, 3 and 8. So if I have a plus 3x and a plus 8x, if I add those together, I'm going to get 11x. So in whatever order I want, I could have plug in 3x and 8x or 8x and 3x in whatever order. It'll work. Plug them straight in. So remember, the ends come down, the ends come straight down, and then go in there. What do I have in common between those two? I have x and x plus 3. The positive sign is going to come down, the middle sign. I can factor a 4 out of both of those. I forgot to put the 2 there, I'm sorry. I can factor 2 out, or 4 out, and I get 2x plus 3. These match. That gives me 2x plus 3 and x plus 4. It is factored. So today, we're going to go through these pretty extensively. So I'm just going to do all of the even problems. So I'm going to multiply those together. I'm going to get positive 30. All the signs are positive, so I have positive and positive. I want the two numbers multiplied together to give me 30, and when added together, give me 31. So I know that 1 and 30, if I add those together, I get 31. So I found it right away. So I know plus 1x and plus 30x. I'm going to squeeze that in. So the ends come down. And then in the middle, I'm going to squeeze in 1x plus 30x. X comes out front, and middle sign comes down. I'm going to factor a 10 out, and that's going to leave me 3x plus 1. These are the same. That's what you want. In the other parenthesis, put your rest of your stuff right there. Number 8, we're going to multiply these together. So negative 21 times 5 is negative 105. Remember, if you multiply two numbers together and get a negative number, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. And I want to figure out what two things I can multiply together to get negative 105. That would also add up to negative 32. So 1 on 105, I don't think that's going to work. 3 times, let's see, you would do this on calculators, 3 and 35. Ooh, 3 times 35 is 105. Is there a way that I can make one of these positive, one of them negative to give me negative 32? And the answer is yes. I'm going to have a negative 35x. and a plus 3x. So I'm going to plug this in whatever order I want. Just make sure you keep the signs the same. So bring the ends down, so I get 5x squared minus 21. And then in the middle, I'm going to go negative 35x plus 3x. Okay, what do I have in common between those two? And I have a 5x. So an x comes out. And then you have x minus 7. You can always double check and go 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times negative 7 is negative 35. Middle sign comes down. It looks like I can factor a 3 out of both of those. And that's going to give me x minus 7. Those are the same. That's what you want. And that's what we get. So, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Do that. Let's go ahead and try number 10. Number 10, so I'm going to multiply these together. So 8 times 9 is positive 72. When I look, all the signs are positive in the problem, so I'm going to have positive and positive. So I want to figure out what two numbers multiplied together would give me positive 72, when add together give me 27. So I know 1 and 72, that's not going to add up. I know I have 2 and 36. And you can do this on a calculator, just go 72 divided by 2, and you're going to get that. That's not going to work, but it's getting closer. Let's see, 3 and 20. Let's see, 3 and 24. Yeah, 3 times 24 is 72, and 3 plus 24 is 27. So I'm going to plug 3x plus 24x in to that middle term. So I'm going to bring my ends down. And then I'm going to squeeze in there plus 3x plus 24x. What do I have in common between those two? I have a 3x. And on those two, middle sign comes down. I can factor an 8 out, and that gives me 3x plus 1 right there. These are the same. And 3x plus 8. That's the rest of my stuff. Okay? That's my answer. And let's take a look at number 12. I'm going to multiply this times this. That's going to give me a negative 9. Remember, when I multiply two numbers together and get a negative, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. So I'm going to figure out what two numbers multiply to give me 9 and add to give me 8. And I think if I do 1 times 9, I think I have it. Okay? So I think this is going to work. I mean, you don't have to worry about the 3 times 3, because that's not going to give us that. So one has to be positive, one has to be negative. So if I think I do a positive 9x minus 1x, I can plug that into the middle right there. So I have 3x squared, and then I'm going to put plus 9x minus 1x, and I could put that in any order. Make sure you just keep the signs the same. So I have a 3x in common here. That leaves me x plus 3. This middle sign comes down, so I'm going to factor a negative 1 out. I'm going to change both signs because I factored a negative out. Those are the same. All right, so the x plus 3. And the rest of my trash is here. So it factors out. Okay? So, my friends, for Monday, I would like you to get 5, 7, 9, and 11 all done. I won't be here on Monday, so the video on Monday will go over those problems from worksheet 7.4. That will then be due on Tuesday, is right when you walk into class. I won't even go over them. I'm expecting that you watch the video. Okay? Have a great day. Take care of one another. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.